Well, good morning everyone and welcome to the Jurassic coastline here in Dorset. This is a place called Old Harry Rocks, pretty cool name, and I got up at 5 o'clock this morning to get here for a sunrise shot. I wasn't entirely sure where the sun was going to come up or if indeed I'd have a shot. It came up just over here and I think I'd like it to have come up behind me with these beautiful sea stacks, so I think I might stick around for this afternoon for a sunset shot. It's a beautiful spot up here, probably the most beautiful coastline in England. It's very windy this morning, so I'm not sure if you can hear me properly, but I did throw up the drone this morning to get some aerial footage and some photos too, so hopefully those will come out. I like the composition of this image and the direction of light is pretty good, but not quite what I was hoping for. However, the afternoon shoot holds hope of getting a much better image. I took this image using a 200mm lens and using interval shooting with a 2-minute start time in order for me to hike down there and get in position. I just got lucky with the boat and the bird. So I'm back at the location I was at this morning and it's about 5 hours later now and the sun is way over the back of the cliffs there, which is creating some lovely shadows on the sea stacks behind me. Also, the air quality over on the horizon is pretty poor today, which is creating some lovely separation on that sea stack, which looks like a witch's hat. Also, there's a couple of people just stood on top of the cliff over there, which is all adding to the scale of this scene. I'm probably not going to get this in one frame. I'll probably have to do an exposure blend of 3 images, probably a stop apart. Also, I'm probably going to throw the drone up in the air and get another vista shot of the sunset. I'm really pleased with how this image turned out, and the people on the cliff edge really give you a sense of scale. Shortly after, I shot this with the 24mm art lens. Stick around till the end of the video where I show you how I edited this image. So I didn't quite get the shot that I was hoping for today, but that's the deal with landscape photography. You know, you could go to the same spot once a month for a whole year and only come away with one banger. So I'm gonna head back to my digs tonight and fire up the laptop, see what images I did get, and maybe I'll show you a little edit or two. So here's a quick mention from this video's sponsor, which is Jackery. These wonderful guys supply portable power stations like the Explorer 1000. And with the cold festive season upon us, it's time to light up your winter with Jackery. Whether you're off-grid camping or cozied up in a log cabin or in a lodge where mains power just isn't possible, these portable power stations can energize your ceramic heaters, bathe the room in a golden glow by powering your twinkle lights, keep your personal items charged like your tablets and cameras, or even power television monitors or a combination of all of them. I've been using Jackery products now for a number of months, and during the summer, the Solar Saga 100 solar panels kept my Jackery charged and ready to juice up my personal items, camera batteries, drones, laptop, and my car fridge. Even in the winter, I'm always guaranteed hours and hours of reliable power. The Jackery can be charged at home using mains power or in the car using the 12-volt car lighter cable. But with energy prices rising, the solar panels are a great way to keep your power stations charged and your costs down for years to come. So currently, with the extension cable plugged into the Jackery, that is powering the table lamp, my laptop, a TV monitor which I'm tethered to, plus the overhead twinkle lights, and it's charging the drone batteries and another camera. Pretty impressive. If I need a little boost of warmth from my 1000-watt ceramic heater, then the Jackery can handle that no problem. So Jackery have prepared a very nice discount deal up to 25% off between the 24th and 28th of November for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I'll pop links in the video description below. So pick yourself up a bargain and light up your winter or somebody else's. Right, let's get on with some editing. So I have 3 different exposures of the same scene, all taken a little time apart, and I'm going to use the darker exposure for the sky and this chap with his dog, the middle exposure will be for the sunburst, and the lighter exposure will of course be for the white cliffs. Now let's open all 3 images as layers in Photoshop, and this will stack the 3 images on top of each other. But we'll need to check that they're aligned properly using Edit and Auto Align. I'll keep it set to Auto as this normally does a good job. And we'll just be checking by zooming in on the obvious part of the image, this point here. And that looks perfect to me. Now the first thing I'm going to do is create an inverted mask to the dark exposure by holding the Alt key. And with a white brush, because white reveals, hardness down to 0 for a nice soft edge, and size needs to be quite substantial. Then I'll just reveal the darker sky from underneath the mask. And we also need this guy with his dog, so making the brush smaller, I'll bring him back too. And I normally take a bit of time with details like this, but for the purposes of showing you guys, I tend to speed through so you don't get bored. Also, I want to make sure the sun flare is still intact from the middle exposure, so let's bring back that detail. Now let's create a normal mask on the middle exposure. And with a black brush, we can conceal the middle exposure to reveal the lighter exposure and bring back the white cliffs. Now you might wonder why I don't just use HDR merging. Well, I find the results are way more dramatic when you exposure blend by hand, plus it feels more like a work of art and not a computer generated image that can often look flat and unnatural. Next up, I'm going to create a gradient map, just a standard black and white one, but make sure it's the correct way around, and then choose the blending option of soft light, which I prefer. And the opacity needs to come down to about 50%. But then I'm going to remove the effect from the sky using the black brush on the mask. I only want the contrast in the foreground, and that's just added a good amount of drama to the scene. Next, I'm going to stamp down the layers into one layer using Command Alt Shift and E. Then rename the layer to Stamp. Now we can convert the layer into a smart object before we send the composite over to Camera Raw for final adjustments and color grading. Now the first thing I'm going to do is tackle the sky, so using a sky mask, Lightroom does a pretty good job of selecting that part of the image. Now we can add some warmth using the temperature and tint sliders. Both around +25 should do it. Next, let's create another mask for the foreground using the brush option. And I'll select the white cliffs and add some whites. A quick before and after. Looking good. Now I think the sun flare needs some enhancing, so creating yet another brush mask, I'm going to add some dehaze and clarity. And that really makes the sun flare pop. Perhaps one more radial mask to the area behind the witch's hat C-stack. And I'll bring up the highlights a touch and some negative dehaze, which creates a nice amount of depth to this part of the image. And finally, some color grading by adding some more warmth to the highlights and magentas into the shadows. Click OK. And one final adjustment before we export the image is a selective color adjustment. And on the red channel, really boost those reds using the opposite of cyan, which of course is red in color theory. And here is my final edit. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for lots more content like this. Also, please hit that like button, which all helps to keep this channel afloat. I'll see you next time.